Partake.
Partake.
Grandmother likes to partake of a small glass of sherry before lunch. A woman's fundamental right to partake in club affairs.
Parterre.
Parterre.
Part exchange.
Part exchange.
The company takes the buyer's property in part exchange.
Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis.
Partial.
Partial.
The exhibition was only a partial success.
A partial solution to traffic congestion in Oxford.
I'm very partial to cream cakes.
Partiality.
Partiality.
The problem of partiality in news reporting.
A partiality for Moorish architecture.
Partially.
Partially.
The operation was only partially successful.
Remember that you are partially responsible for their unhappiness.
Partially sighted.
Partially sighted.
Reading aids have been provided for partially sighted pupils.
Participant.
Participant.
An active participant in the negotiations.
Participate.
Participate.
Some members refuse to participate.
Everyone in the class is expected to participate actively in these discussions.
They welcomed the opportunity to participate fully in the life of the village.
Participation.
Participation.
Thank you for your participation.
We want more participation in the decision-making. Entertainment with plenty of audience participation.
Participatory.
Participatory.
A participatory democracy. Participial.
Participle.
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 Participial.
Participle.
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 Particle.
Particle.
Dust particles.
Tiny particles of soil.
There's not a particle of truth in what he says.
Particle accelerator.
Particle accelerator.
Particle physics.
Particle physics.
Particular.
Particular.
In this particular case, no one else was involved.
Most students choose one particular area for research.
A particular type of food.
You should pay particular attention to spelling.
For no particular reason, he quit the job.
Of particular concern is the rising cost of transportation.
I had nothing particular planned.
Marty's very particular about his food.
It was a good concert. I enjoyed the last song in particular.
Was there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about?
What did you want? Oh, nothing in particular. You may be required to give particulars of the change in your financial position. For further particulars, contact the college secretary. Send your particulars to the address above.
The documents were identical in almost every particular.
Particularity.
Particularity.
The particularity of her style of writing.
Particularize.
Particularize.
Particularly.
Particularly.
Steve was in a particularly bad mood when he got back. The restaurant is particularly popular with young people.
We are hoping to expand our business, particularly in Europe.
British farmers, particularly those producing lamb, are very worried.
I'm not particularly impressed with their performance.
Do you want to come to the party? Not particularly.
Particulates.
Particulates.
Parting.
Parting.
An emotional parting at the airport.
The moment of parting.
He gave her a light kiss on parting.
A centre parting.
As her parting shot, she told me never to phone her again.
Partisan.
Partisan.
British newspapers are highly partisan.
The nature of partisan warfare.
A media campaign to represent Democrats as angry partisans. A media campaign to represent Democrats as angry partisans.
Partition.
Partition.
The partition of India.
Partition.
They partitioned off part of the living room to make a study. They partitioned off part of the living room to make a study.
Partitive.
Partitive.
Partly.
Partly.
The poor weather was partly responsible for the crash.
The company's problems are partly due to bad management.
It is partly because of her sick mother that she hasn't taken the job abroad.
The group is funded partly by the government.
Partner.
Partner.
Discuss your worries with your partner.
Only 29% of lone parents receive financial support from their former partners. A sexual partner.
She's a partner in a law firm.
The senior partner has retired.
Claire's my tennis partner.
Take your partners for the next dance.
Nigeria is our principal trading partner in Africa.
The group is a junior partner in the PLO's governing coalition.
I used to partner him in tennis matches. I used to partner him in tennis matches.
Partnership.
Partnership.
I've been in partnership with her for 5 years.
She's gone into partnership with 2 local doctors.
It's one of the most successful partnerships in the country.
Several youth charities have formed a partnership to help these homeless teenagers.
The close partnership between Britain and the U.S. will continue.
Part of speech.
Part of speech.
Partook.
Partook.
Partridge.
Partridge.
Part song.
Part song.
Part-time.
Part-time.
A part-time job.
Women wishing to return to work on a part-time basis. She wants to work part-time after she's had the baby.
Part way.
Part way.
I got the bus part way.
She left partway through the 2-year contract.
Party.
Party.
We're having a small party this evening to celebrate our wedding anniversary.
The university threw a party to welcome them.
Are you going to the party tonight?
I met John at a party a couple of months ago.
The party spirit.
I have always voted for the Labour Party. He failed to win the party's nomination for president. He failed to win the party's nomination for president.
The conference is open to all party members. The conference is open to all party members. A party of tourists. There were several students in our party.
A search party was sent out to look for the missing climbers.
A rescue party. Admission is free for school parties. Helping the 2 parties to reach an agreement.
He sees himself as the innocent party in this dispute.
I was not a party to this discussion.
Let's party.
Party animal. Party animal.
Party favour.
Party favor.
Party goer.
Partygoer.
Young partygoers.
Party line.
Party line.
He refused to toe the party line.
Party piece. Party piece.
Party politics.
Party politics.
The decision was influenced by party politics.
Party political.
Party political.
A party political broadcast on television. Party political propaganda.
Party pooper.
Party pooper.
Party wall.
Party wall.
Parvenu.
Parvenu.
Pas de deux.
Pas de deux.
Pashmina.
Pashmina.
Pass.
Pass.
The crowd parted to let the truck pass.
He gave me a smile as he passed.
We passed a group of students outside the theatre.
I passed the sports centre on the way to work.
He passed along the corridor to a small room at the back of the building.
We passed through the gates into a courtyard behind.
We were just passing through and thought we'd drop in to see you.
He passed the rope carefully around the post.
The road passes right through the town centre.
The main railway line passes just north of Manchester.
Pass the salt, please.
Can you pass me that bag by your feet?
She passed a cup of tea to the headmaster.
I passed the note back to her.
I'll pass the information on to our sales department.
They've passed the inquiry over to the police.
The days passed slowly.
She became more ambitious as the years passed. They sat in silence while the minutes passed.
Hardly a day passes without more bad news about the economy.
We passed the winter pleasantly enough.
We played cards to pass the time. Did you pass all your exams?
He hasn't passed his driving test yet.
She passed with flying colours.
The examiners will only pass you if they feel that you have done the work properly. The examiners will only pass you if they feel that you have done the work properly.
Plans to extend the hotel have now been passed. The motion was passed by 16 votes to 11. The first Transport Act was passed in 1907. The government has passed new legislation to protect consumers.
The United Nations Security Council has passed a resolution asking the two countries to resume peace negotiations.
The bill failed to pass the House of Representatives. A glance of recognition passed between them.
Please say nothing of what has passed here today.
I'm afraid I can't pass any comment on this matter.
He passed some remark about doctors being paid too much.
Carla made some comment about my work, but I decided to let it pass.
After a couple of hours, the storm passed.
The feeling of sickness soon passed.
He passed to Beckham on the edge of the penalty area. He passed to Beckham on the edge of the penalty area.
Are you allowed to pass the ball back to the goalkeeper?
The number of unemployed has passed the 2 million mark for the first time. His resignation passed largely unnoticed.
The land will pass to my son when I die.
Control of these services has now passed into the hands of the local authorities. The chemical passes from a liquid to a solid state during the cooling process.
Judges no longer have the power to pass the death sentence.
I don't want to pass judgment on my colleagues.
Who won the World Cup in 1998? Pass.
I'm afraid I'll have to pass on that offer of coffee. I'm afraid I'll have to pass on that offer of coffee.
Don't worry, not a word of this will pass my lips.
Not a drop of liquor has passed my lips. Not a drop of liquor has passed my lips.
See your doctor immediately if you pass any blood. See your doctor immediately if you pass any blood.
He was having difficulty passing water. He was having difficulty passing water.
Pass the cookies around, would you? Pass the cookies around, would you?
His French is so good that he can pass as a Frenchman.
They all waved as they passed by.
Will you be passing by the supermarket on your way home? Will you be passing by the supermarket on your way home?
She felt that life was passing her by. The tradition has been passed down from father to son for generations.
With my hair cut short, I could have passed for a boy.
The visit passed off without any serious incidents.
They bought up pieces of old furniture and passed them off as valuable antiques. They bought up pieces of old furniture and passed them off as valuable antiques.
He passed himself off as a doctor.
She said she'd pass the message on to the other students. She said she'd pass the message on to the other students.
One catches the virus and they pass it on to the rest.
Any increase in our costs will have to be passed on to the consumer.
I nearly passed out when I saw all the blood.
This is the second time I've been passed over for promotion.
I want to pass over this quite quickly.
I think we better pass over that last remark.
I don't think you should pass up the opportunity to go to university.
The guard checked our passes.
They issued us with free passes to the theatre.
You can buy a cheap one-day bus pass.
Did you get a pass in English?
The pass mark is 55%.
That was a brilliant pass by Holden.
A narrow, winding mountain pass.
On the first pass, we eliminated all the candidates who didn't have the right experience.
Passable.
Passable.
The food was excellent and the wine was passable.
He can do a passable imitation of the maths teacher.
Passably.
Passably.
There were one or two passably funny jokes, but it was mostly dull.
Passage.
Passage.
My office is just along the passage.
We walked down a narrow passage to the back of the building. An underground passage.
He read out a short passage from the Bible.
The bridge isn't strong enough to allow the passage of heavy vehicles. The bridge isn't strong enough to allow the passage of heavy vehicles.
Both sides agreed to allow the free passage of medical supplies into the area.
He was guaranteed safe passage out of the country.
The bill was amended several times during its passage through Congress. The bill was amended several times during its passage through Congress.
They are expecting the new legislation to have quite a rough passage through Parliament.
My parents couldn't afford the passage to America.
The nasal passages. The police forced a passage through the crowd.
With the passage of time, things began to look more hopeful.
Passageway.
Passageway.
He led me down a narrow passageway.
Passbook.
Passbook.
Passé.
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 Passel.
Passel.
A whole passel of kids.
Passenger.
Passenger.
Neither the driver nor the passengers were hurt.
A crash involving a passenger train.
Rail passengers now face even longer delays.
The company can't afford to carry any passengers.
Passenger seat.
Passenger seat.
Passerby.
Passerby.
They sell drinks to passers-by.
Pass him.
Pass him.
Passing. Passing.
Most of the old traditions have died out with the passing of time.
The passing of the years had done nothing to improve his temper.
He did mention his brother's wife, but only in passing.
The old regime was defeated and few people mourned its passing.
Nothing could fill the gap in her life left by his passing.
Michael watched the passing cars.
A passing motorist stopped to help.
Her grief became less intense with the passing years. Her grief became less intense with the passing years.
With each passing day she grew stronger.
He had only ever shown a passing interest in sport.
He made only a passing reference to her achievements.
Passion.
Passion.
His eyes were burning with passion.
Her passion for a married man.
He spoke with considerable passion about the importance of art and literature.
The issue arouses strong passions.
His passion for football.
Gardening was her great passion.
Passionate.
Passionate.
He had a brief but passionate love affair with an older woman.
A very passionate young man.
A passionate lover.
A passionate kiss.
A passionate supporter of women's rights.
He had a passionate belief in justice.
She developed a passionate interest in wildflowers.
I've always been passionate about football.
He kissed her passionately.
Peter is passionately involved in environmental issues.
Passion flower. Passion flower.
Passion fruit.
Passion fruit.
Passionless.
Passionless.
A dull, passionless marriage.
Passion play.
Passion play.
Passive.
Passive.
Kathy seems to take a very passive role in the relationship.
Their passive acceptance of their fate. Their passive acceptance of their fate. He listened passively as his sentence was read out.
Passive resistance.
Passive resistance.
They tried to achieve their aims by passive resistance.
Passive smoking.
Passive smoking.
Passive voice.
Passive voice.
Pacifize. Pacifize.
Passkey.
Passkey.
Passover.
Passover.
Passport.
Passport.
I have an Irish passport. They need to check that your passport is in order.
She saw a good diet as a passport to good health.
Don't assume that winning a talent contest is a passport to success. Don't assume that winning a talent contest is a passport to success.
Passport control.
Passport control.
It took us ages to get through passport control.
Past.
Past.
Judging by her past performance, Jane should do very well. Judging by her past performance, Jane should do very well.
From past experience, she knew that it was no use arguing with him. Study some past exam papers to get an idea of the questions.
The events of the past year.
During the past 2 weeks, 12 people have died of the disease.
She has been feeling tired for the past few days.
Winter is past and spring has come at last.
Writers from past centuries. A tradition rooted in times long past. A past president of the golf club.
A celebration for past and present employees of the newspaper. Bruce Jenner, a past Olympic champion.
It's 9:10.
I should be finished by past.
It was past midnight when the party ended.
Come on, Annie. It's long past your bedtime.
The hospital's just up this road, about a mile past the school.
There are parking spaces over there just past the garage.
She waved as she drove past. Will you be going past my house on your way home?
Monica hurried straight past me and down the steps.
Weeks went past without any news.
The hours seemed to fly past.
The roses were already past their best.
Reed never really got past the stage of copying other artists. Reed never really got past the stage of copying other artists.
A pot of yogurt well past its sell-by date.
An Italian singer who was then past her prime.
I'm past caring about my appearance.
I wouldn't put it past Colin to cheat. I wouldn't put it past Colin to cheat. I wouldn't put it past Colin to cheat.
People seem to think that just because I'm retired, I'm past it.
The lake was smaller in the past.
Good manners have become a thing of the past.
It's time she stopped living in the past and began to think about her future. She allowed her mind to drift towards the recent past. She allowed her mind to drift towards the recent past.
I did a law degree sometime in the dim and distant past.
You mustn't think about it. It's all in the past now.
At some time in its past, the church was rebuilt.
The woman who ran the bar had a very shady past.
Pasta.
Pasta.
I eat a lot of pasta.
Paste.
Paste.
A notice had been pasted to the door. Data can be pasted into word processing documents.
Mix the powder with enough water to make a smooth paste.
Wallpaper paste.